Good. Everything's smooth. Everything's good. Awesome. Awesome. So, I'm going to turn the music down a bit, but have it on in the background because I can't just sit in silence here. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping back for some Week 6 action of the Huge Sack Podcast. I appreciate you guys stopping by. This is our first live show. I think the chat box is in the stream, I believe. Linz, do you want to chat a little bit? See if it's in there? See if it pops up? Does it pop up? Where is it at? Oh, there it is. It was hiding. So maybe I gotta pull it down here. Alright, let's just put it down there. Awesome. Alright, so we got Week 7 action of the Huge Sack Podcast. We're gonna discuss, or I'm gonna discuss, everything that happened in the NFL. Week 7, we're going to go through each game, kind of discuss what the teams are doing, what our opinions or my opinions are on each team. This week we don't have Rocky Man or Luke with us. He has some other stuff going on, I guess. So it's just me this week. If anybody in my chat wants to hop in, I can absolutely pull you in. Just get on Discord, get on a video call with me, and we can keep going. But yeah, so my thoughts on this previous week are kind of iffy. I was a little busy. My sister got married this weekend, so I guess most of my opinions are going to be based on stats and what I've heard throughout the week. But regardless, we're going to get into it. We're not going to give up. So I guess we can hop right into the Denver Broncos and the Cleveland Browns. And I guess this game to me didn't seem like it should have been this close. With how the how the Broncos have been playing, I guess the first 3 weeks maybe are the exception because they played really good in the first 3 weeks. But the last couple games there, I mean, that's 4 straight. That's 4 straight that they've lost, and I know that they've been playing some tough opponents, but you got to win some of those games. If you can come out 2-2 in those last 4 games, you're sitting pretty. Comes down to the Cleveland Browns. They haven't been playing the greatest either, but also I think that they are still playoff contenders. I think that the Browns are going to be really good this year, and I think that they're going to continue being good. So let's dive into the stats. The Broncos, I mean, Teddy had an okay game. 23 for 33, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's okay. That's what you're going to see out of him. The running game was insignificant for the Broncos. You can't do that. They only ran for 41 yards total. They wouldn't even have crossed 40 if Teddy Bridgewater didn't run the ball. So you definitely need to pick up your running game on the Broncos side. Passing, ball was spread out really nicely, but just couldn't really get too much progression there. So I guess the best way I can describe this Broncos team is that they're kind of falling apart. Doesn't look like they kicked the ball at all, just two extra points. Really bland from the Denver Broncos. If you go over to the Browns, Case Keenum, he played pretty damn good. You got a backup quarterback in there, and you like to see this kind of action out of a backup quarterback. I know as a Vikings fan, Case Keenum can get the job done. He got us to the NFC Championship game by playing the way he plays. So, I mean, this is not surprising to me. 21 for 33, 199 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Enough to get the job done is what I'm saying. Running. D'Ernest Johnson had a hell of a game. 22 carries for 146 yards and a touchdown. You love to see that out of the rushing game. It's kind of odd, though. I feel like the Browns are missing some key pieces that they need in their game to succeed. They have 2 very good running backs that are currently looks like they're not even playing, and that's something that needs to get back. They need to get healthy, or whatever happened there. They need to get healthy. Receiving, it looks like Case Keenum was spreading the ball out. You get that from your backups just because they don't know who their targets are. They don't know who they want to throw the ball to, but it could be a good thing, and I think it was for Case Keenum here. He spread the ball out really nicely. A lot of players with 20, 30, 40 yards, and you love to see that. So I'm okay with that. Looks like their kicking was kind of iffy. Looks like 2 extra points and a field goal. They missed a field goal actually, so this game should have been a little more in favor of the Browns, but not a whole lot. Like I said, in the past couple weeks, you have to definitely hit your kicks when you have the opportunity to. So if you go look at the team stats, the Broncos are just crushing and everything. The Browns are. Rushing is heavily in favor of Cleveland. Total yards in favor of Cleveland. Passing in favor of Cleveland. Everything was in favor of Cleveland. There was 1 turnover for the Broncos. They turned the ball over 1 time. Time of possession was 10-minute difference in favor of Cleveland, so it looked like they handled the ball pretty good. Penalties. 9 penalties for 60 yards on Cleveland Browns side. You'd love to see that cleaned up a little bit because it looked like Denver played a really, really clean game with 2 penalties for 15 yards. So I would give the Broncos that one. But other than that, not too much to talk about. In my eyes, Cleveland should have won this one pretty easily, but they ended up barely skipping by, and I'm okay with that as well. So the Cleveland Browns win this one 17-14 over the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are now 3-4, and the Browns are 4-3, and we can swing to the next game. Our next game looks like it's going to be the Chiefs and the Titans, and I'll be fully honest with you. I expected this. I did not expect it to go any other way. The Chiefs no longer are a top team to me. They are very middle of the pack, and I think their record shows that they are below 500 for the first year in quite a while, actually. So I just think that something's not going right with Patrick Mahomes. I think he's playing poor. I was brought up to me at my sister's wedding this weekend that he started playing poorly when he got engaged and stuff. So he's probably focusing on a lot of family stuff right now that doesn't get to focus as much time into football. So I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know what, but it was brought up to me by a Chiefs fan, actually. So I think that's what the Chiefs fans are saying right now. And I would like to know kind of how that's going to play out later. But Tennessee is playing very good, and I kind of expected Tennessee to run away with this one. Chiefs defense isn't anything to talk about, so we can actually dive into the Chiefs right now. Patrick Mahomes, 20 for 35, 206 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. He is not playing good. Looks like they took him out probably 4th quarter or something. Chad Henne, 11 for 16, 82 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's not bad out of a backup. I mean, obviously, you're backing up Patrick Mahomes, so you're not going to get to see a whole lot of play. But once again, like I said, Patrick Mahomes hasn't been playing good, so it's like, try him out. Rushing, terrible. I mean, it was under 100 yards total. Just kind of poor rushing in general from the Chiefs. Receiving, I guess, the ball was spread out nicely. And a couple people had real good games, like your typical Kelsey and Tyreek Hill had pretty good games, but just not enough to compete with the perfection out of the perfect running game out of the Titans. So kicking 1 for 2, you got to hit those, but also you got smoked in this game, so it wouldn't have mattered. We can swing over to the Titans. Tannehill had a good game. Well, no, he had like an average game. 21 for 27, 270 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I'll give you that. Derrick Henry actually threw the ball 1 for 1, 5 yards, and it was a touchdown. So I can about imagine that that he was having a game. Yeah. Actually, his rushing wasn't even that great. Derrick Henry rushed 29 times for 86. Usually he gets over 100, so that's a little off to me. But it looked like everything was working on the passing side, so I can't really complain too much about that. A.J. Brown had 8 catches for 133 yards and a touchdown. You take those performances out of your receivers, even if you have a rush game like that. So it's nice to see the Titans have a backup plan if Derrick Henry can't push 200 yards rushing. So I'm happy with that. I'll take that all day. Yeah, I mean, 2 for 2 kicking. Your defense must have played really good. If you go over to the team stats, it actually is pretty down the middle. Everything is slightly in favor of the Titans, but not to the what the score says. Looks like Tennessee had an incredible first half, and they were coasting at the end because they had 27 already by the halftime. So the ball was controlled by Tennessee very obviously. It's 13 minutes more time with the ball. Kansas City turned the ball over 3 times as opposed to Tennessee's 1. Kansas City has 9 penalties for 77. Tennessee had 6 for 31. So Kansas City, you need to clean up a lot of stuff before you can start winning games and consider yourself a top team again. Because in my eyes, and I think in a lot of people's eyes, again, you are not a top team. This is something that you saw a lot of from the Kansas City Chiefs before Patrick Mahomes. So kind of hope they can pull themselves out of this, but also I have no idea where their mind is at and what their plans are. So if they end up not doing it, then I feel really bad for Patrick Mahomes, and I hope that he can get out of there. But also, yeah, I'm not even sure. Tennessee just right now is a better team, and Kansas City is not. So Tennessee Titans win this one 27-3 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City is now 3-4, and Tennessee increases their win column to 5-2. Alrighty! Let's swing on over to the God, my computer is slow right now. Washington and Green Bay. This one doesn't shock me one bit. Washington lost this one and Green Bay won this one. They're exactly what happened was supposed to happen. Washington kind of played iffy. Heineke had an okay game, 25 for 37, 263 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Rushing game was pretty good, except for your quarterback is your leading rusher with 95 yards, 10 carries. It's the only reason why they have 10 points right now is your quarterback. He can't do everything, though. When it comes to receiving, it looks like the ball was not spread that great. It seemed like this McLaren and Seals-Jones were primary targets, and then it was spread to miscellaneous people when they weren't open. This Terry McLaren, 7 receptions for 122 yards and 1 touchdown. You take that. I like that out of him. It looks like right now Heineke and this McLaren are the ones that are carrying this team. They are a young team. I don't know a lot of the names on this team, but see a little potential in those guys, and you kind of want to build around them in my eyes right now. Kicking, 1 for 2. Like I said, you need to hit those field goals. You have to, or else you're not going to win games. You got to do better than 50%. You should honestly hit 100% of your field goals. You're as a team, you're counting on your kicker to make those field goals, and if you miss them, then literally you're putting it's all on you. You got to hit those. Aaron Rodgers had a good game, 27 for 35, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Great game out of Aaron Rodgers. Love to see that. Old Aaron Rodgers, MVP Aaron Rodgers is kind of showing himself. That first week was a little sketchy, but 6-0 since. So the Packers are very good. And actually, this is a Friday, so they are 7-1 now. And they are 7-0 since week 1. So Aaron Jones had honestly, rushing was terrible in this game from the Packers. They had less than 40 yards. Nope, they had more than 40. Less than 60. They had about 50-something. Whatever. Rushing was not good. Devontae Adams, 6 receptions for 76 yards and a touchdown. Your tight end, Robert Tonyan, who just recently got hurt against the Cardinals, has a touchdown, 4 receptions for 63 yards. He's pretty good. I like him. He's on my fantasy. Well, was. I have to trade him now, but yeah, nothing really crazy stands out to me about the Packers. It's just they're a better team, and they did enough to win this game, and that's all they need to continue doing. If you continue winning, it doesn't matter how you win. So if you go over and look at the team stats, actually a lot of stuff was on Washington's favor, and it looks like they just couldn't get it taken care of. Penalties, I guess, are pretty mellow. Washington actually controlled the ball better, but they did turn the ball over one more time. I think the Packers are just a better team in general, in the sense that they know how to win games, and Washington doesn't. They're really young, and the Packers are kind of a veteran team here now. So I think that this one went how it should, and I'm okay with the Packers taking another win. So the Green Bay Packers win this one 24-10 over the Washington football team. Nothing crazy here. Washington football team is now 2-5, and Green Bay is 6-1, undefeated since week 1. And we can swing over to the next game here. Looks like we have the Bengals and the Ravens. And low-key, this one surprised me. Now, the Ravens are a team that everybody's expecting to be some dominant team because of Lamar Jackson. Well, Joe Burrow is having a hell of a season right now. The Bengals, Joe Burrow, 23 for 38, 416 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. The interception is a blemish, but also he put up a hell of a game. Looks like your rushing is okay. You're splitting it between 2 people above 100 yards. You want that. They both have a touchdown, too. Joe Mixon and this Perrine guy, both 11 and 12 carries. They're both above 50, and they both have a touchdown. You can't complain about that. Your rushing game is getting better than it was before this week, and you love to see that. Now, receiving, Jamar Chase, 8 receptions, 201 yards, 1 touchdown, average of 25 yards a catch, or a reception. So, I mean, you can't complain about that one bit. CJ Uzuma, 3 receptions for 91, above 30 yards average. That is an insane... That's just insane. Thank you so much, Day-to-Day Nation. I appreciate you. Day-to-Day Nation! All right. Bengals kicking. 2 for 2. Long of 52. He had 11 points. You love to see that. He hit everything he was supposed to. That's why they're going to continue winning. Now, Lamar Jackson, 15 for 31, 257 yards, 1 touchdown. Nothing crazy out of Lamar Jackson. He only ran for 88 yards too. Usually he's above 100. I don't know. This team it seems so reliant on Lamar Jackson. If you can stop Lamar Jackson, then you're winning the game, and that's just how it's going to be. His passing was well spread out, but it just wasn't as good as the Bengals. He had, what did he have? It was 278 yards passing, but Joe Burrow threw for 409. So you can't, I mean, come on. If you look at the team stats, everything is actually in favor of the Bengals aside from time of possession, which the time of possession is only like a 2 or 3 or 4 minute difference here. Ravens did have 5 penalties for 46 yards. Clean that up a little bit and maybe you compete a little better. But the Bengals, 1 penalty for 5 yards. That is a clean game. Bengals played out of their mind, and you got to give them props for this week. They played a hell of a game, and they are clearly a team that should be considered a contender for playoffs this year. Both their losses have been tight contested games. So, not much to say about this game past that. The Cincinnati Bengals are contenders in my eyes, and everybody else's eyes they should be. So, Cincinnati Bengals win this one 41-17 against the Baltimore Ravens. Both teams are now 5-2. And we can swing on to the next game. It looks like the Giants and the Panthers, and this one's weird to me. I felt like the Panthers are going to win and the Giants were going to lose, but complete opposite. Sam Darnold, he played really poorly. 16 for 25, 112 yards, 1 interception, 0 touchdowns. They put in Phillip Walker, 3 for 14, 33 yards. I mean, not too great out of the Panthers. Their rushing game was poor. Actually, it was really bad. You got to do better out of. I mean, I understand Christian McCaffrey's hurt, but you have to have a team past him. I do think if Christian McCaffrey was in this game, this would have been a win for the Panthers, but that just shows you how important he is to this team. You have to get him healthy and get him back. Field goal kicking on the Panthers side, 1 for 1, good enough. I think what was it, a 45-yard? That's good. Probably the only positive thing I can pull from the Panthers right now is that their kicker is 1 for 1. Because the rest of it is very ugly to look at. And honestly, I feel bad for this team and Christian McCaffrey. You need to get Christian McCaffrey healthy because then you can start competing in these games. And even then, you should be able to play football without one player. So maybe this Panthers team is still trying to rebuild a little bit with this Sam Darnold trade, and you'd hope for that. So maybe in the next couple years, but as of right now, they are not contenders in my eyes. Now, if you go over to the Giants, Daniel Jones, 23 for 33, 203 yards, 1 touchdown. You love to see that. 0 interceptions. Rushing was above 100 yards between 3 people. It seems like it was spread out pretty good between the 3 too. So we're happy about that. Passing was spread out pretty well. We can talk a lot about their passing, but I don't think it really matters because I don't think that this team is a passing team to begin with. To be honest, I think that the New York Giants got their 25 points from just having a better performance. And there was a turnover on the Carolina Panthers side. Time of possession was longer. They just played a better game, and I think that all stems back to Christian McCaffrey being out. So this game I don't really want to talk about anymore. I'm done with this game too. Everything was kind of favoring. All the team stats are favoring New York. Everything is favoring New York. I don't think either of these teams are good. I think this is just kind of a dump game. So the New York Giants win this one 25-3 over the Carolina Panthers. And we can swing to the next game. I think both teams are 2. Are they 3 and 4? Let me check real quick. They are wrong game. Both teams are Carolina's 3 and 4 and New York is 2 and 5. My bad. All right, and we can actually swing to the next game now. Falcons and Dolphins, and I am maybe a little surprised about how close this game is, but I'm not too surprised about the outcome. Matt Ryan, 25 for 40, 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That looks exactly like all of his other stats. He's playing exactly how he should be. Rushing, Cordell Patterson, 14 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown. Just like the other weeks we've discussed him, they are utilizing him in a really productive way, and I love to see that. Passing was not really spread out. It looks like Kyle Pitts was getting all the receptions for 163 yards, but if you can't guard him, you can't guard him, and you're going to keep getting the ball thrown to you, so I'm also okay with that. 3 for 3 kicking. Love to see that out of the Falcons. Now on the Dolphins side, Tua Tagovailoa, their quarterback, the Dolphins quarterback, 32 for 40, 291 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And I would say that he has better stats than Matt Ryan right now, but it's those 2 interceptions that bother me. Ball was rushed by 4 different people. Looks like they cracked 100 yards, spread out between them. I'm okay with that too. Rushing was average, maybe a little below what I would have liked to see, but not too bad. Passing was super spread out on the Dolphins side, which you actually really like to see. Honestly, both these teams played really good. I will say real quick, though, this is a 2-point game, and the Dolphins have a missed field goal. They win this game if they make that field goal, and this is exactly what I was saying earlier. You have to hit your field goals. You have a win, and you have another number in your win column. You're 2 and 5 if you win this game. You hit that field goal, you win this game. So that's a little disappointing from the Dolphins side. If you go and look at the team stats, actually everything is kind of favoring the... It's probably averaging out to favor the Falcons a little bit, but the rushing game on the Falcons side is very poor. Rushing game on the Miami side is very good. And everything was just high-powered offense in my eyes. Not a lot of penalties, very clean game. Dolphins controlled the ball much better, 10 minutes more. 2 turnovers on both sides, so we can't say that that's the reason. This game looks like it should have been a fucking close game, and it was. It came down to a missed field goal. Actually, I don't know what the last play was, but that missed field goal changes the outcome. That's the only thing that I could find in these team stats that actually changes this outcome. You miss a field goal, you lose. You make the field goal, you win. That's how close this game is. Right now, both these teams are not contenders in my eyes, but also I think this shows how close all these teams that aren't contenders and are contenders are. This was a very close game, and I'm sure it was very entertaining to watch. So the Atlanta Falcons win this one 30-28 over the Miami Dolphins. Atlanta is now 3-3, and Miami is 1-6. And we can hop to the next game. Stream, how are we doing? How are we doing, Stream? Is that where I'm at? The Jets and the... Am I at that game? Yeah. So we are at the Jets and the Patriots, and this one doesn't shock me one bit. Let's just hop into the team stats, and then I'll talk about it later. Mike White and Zach Wilson both played quarterback. Looks like Zach Wilson might have left the game early, 6 for 10, 51 yards, and then he got hurt or something. Mike White came in 20 for 32, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. That's what you see out of your backup quarterbacks. That doesn't shock me one bit. Looks like rushing was just poor on their side, about 50 yards, maybe a little more than 50 yards, 60 yards. Passing was okay. It was spread out very nicely. Kicking 0 for 1. You got to make those field goals, man. If you go over to the Patriots side, Mac Jones, 24 for 36, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And it looks like they had 2 other quarterbacks come in halfway through the game or at the end when they were up by 1,000,000 points. Anyway. Receiving, Damian Harris, 14 for 106, 2 touchdowns. J.J. Taylor also had 2 touchdowns with 21 yards. This game was just a fucking... They just didn't let off the gas and just kept fucking rolling through the Jets, which is something their coach likes to do quite a bit. 2 for 2 kicking. Their kicker had 12 points total. So he hit all of his extra points as well. Everything when you look at the team stats is in favor of the New England Patriots. Total offensive yards, 551 compared to the 300 of the Jets. Everything is in favor of the Patriots. Everything. There's 3 turnovers by the Jets. The only thing that's not in favor of the Patriots is they had 6 penalties for 95 yards. Yikes. You can't do that. But all in all, they played a better game. They ran up the score. I know their coach likes to do that. Like I said, the Jets aren't contenders at all. I don't think that the Patriots are either, but I just think that the Patriots knew they could win this game, and they went out and won by as much as they possibly could, which is okay. Give your fan base a little something to cheer for. So, New England Patriots win this one 54-13 over the New York Jets. The Patriots are now 3-4. Trying to creep up to 500, and the Jets are 1-5 and a lost cause in my eyes. Now we can swing over to the next game. It looks like we have the Eagles and the Raiders, and this one actually went the way I thought it was going to go. This is about right. Okay, so let's start with the Eagles. Jalen Hurts, 18 for 34, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's good. Yeah, that's good to me. I don't like, out of this, their leading rusher, also Jalen Hurts. 13 carries for 61 yards. You can't do that. You can, but I just don't think it's going to work for your team right now. This is a team that's not winning, and if you're going to have a scrambling quarterback that's actually a scrambling quarterback, generally those teams win. But yeah, their rushing was poor. Their receiving was spread out. I mean, he passed the ball and spread it out really nicely, so that's good to see. And Jake Elliott hit 2 extra points and didn't have to kick a field goal. So, I mean, you can't complain too much about this. The Eagles played a pretty good game. Just the Raiders were slightly better. Derek Carr, 31 for 34. Incredible percentage. 31 for 34. 323 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Interception, a little blemish, but Derek Carr is playing good. He's still playing good. Let's just hope he doesn't get hurt, because if he gets hurt, this team goes to shit quickly. Rushing, they also spread this out quite a bit, but Kenyon Drake, 14 for 69 and a touchdown. And then Josh Jacobs 6 for 29 and a touchdown. I mean, these are typical stats out of the Raiders, I feel, but I would like to see this number over 100. Which it is. It's barely over 100. Around 150 is what I'm getting at. Receiving was spread out really nicely. Not too much to say past that. Daniel Carlson hits 2 for 2 with field goals. And yeah, that's all I can say about the Raiders too. If you go over to the team stats, everything is slightly in favor of the Las Vegas Raiders, which kind of shows you... I mean, this score is pretty accurate to what's happening. 7 penalties on the Raiders side for 65. Make that a little better, and this game isn't as close. Eagles turned the ball over twice compared to the Las Vegas's one. The Raiders controlled the ball for 5-10 minutes or 5-6 minutes longer. Yeah, I mean, this looked like a pretty relatively normal NFL game. The team that wins by 10 or 11 points is outdoing the other team by slight margins. So the Las Vegas Raiders win this one 33-22 over the Philadelphia Eagles. This is not a shocker to me. Seems like the Philadelphia Eagles even made it close, actually, by getting... I mean, it was garbage time at the end. 15 points in the fourth quarter. So, actually, the Raiders probably played a lot better in this game than it looks right now. So, anyway, they win this one 33-22 over the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are now 2-5, and the Raiders are 5-2. And we can swing on to the next game. And our next game, it looks like, is the Lions and the Rams. So this one does not shock me at all either. If you want my full opinion on this, Jared Goff is not a good quarterback, and Matthew Stafford is, and they've been on the wrong teams for a couple years now. But now they finally switched to where they should be, and this seems a little more right for the Detroit Lions and the the Rams. Jared Goff, 22 for 36, 268 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Not good stats. Jack Fox came in for 1 pass. 1 for 1 for 17 yards. Okay. Rushing was slightly above 100. I would like to see that above 150 or somewhere around 150. So, if they can get that to work, and actually it is around 150. I'm wrong. So yeah, rushing's okay on this side. Just no one super shocking on that end. A couple people around 50. Receiving, not spread out whatsoever. Spread out between 3 people, but you have a total of 6 people, and 3 of them only had 1 pass. So you're not passing the ball too great either. With Jared Goff, you should be passing the ball a little bit more. Kicking, 4 for 4. Austin Siebert. Love to see that. Good job out of him. If you go over to the Rams, Matthew Stafford, 28 for 41, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That is the difference between the quarterbacks that I'm discussing. Okay, Matthew Stafford is an incredibly good quarterback. Okay, this is overwhelmingly the reason that, I mean, this shows it perfectly. Anyway, rushing was god awful on LA's side. I would say that they need to fix something there. You're under 50 yards rushing, which is sad. But also when you go down to the receiving, Cooper Kupp, 10 receptions, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. Obviously he's going to do that. You can't guard him. I don't know how to guard him. I can't imagine a defender that can guard him. He is so good. Ball wasn't spread out because it didn't need to be, but it was somewhat. Robert Woods, 6 for 70. Tyler Higbee, 5 for about 50. Spread out really nicely. A lot of passing going around on this side. 2 for 2 kicking. Great. If you go look at the team stats, the Lions rushing is incredibly good compared to the Rams, but everything else is kind of in favor of the... Actually, this is pretty split down the middle, to be honest. I think that the Lions' 8 penalties for 77 yards might have killed them there, and the 2 interceptions thrown killed them. They had the ball longer. It looks like, in general, they played a better game. They just they couldn't win, and that's the difference between the Lions and every other team in the NFL. This is why they're 0-7. They know how to lose. They don't know how to win. That's what it is. So the Rams win this one 28-19 over the Detroit Lions. The Lions are now 0-7, and the Rams are 6-1, and we can hop over to the next game. Looks like we have the Bears and the Bucks, and I'm not even going to talk about this one. The Bears scored 3 points, and Tampa Bay scored 38. This is exactly what everybody expected. Your Justin Fields throw 3 interceptions and no touchdowns. Tom Brady threw 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I am done talking about this game. Tampa Bay wins this one 38-3 over the Chicago Bears. The Bears are now 3-4. Tampa Bay is 6-1. We can swing to the next game. And it looks like we have the Texans and the Cardinals. All right, the Cardinals. I'm done with this one as well. Davis Mills, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And then you go over to the Cardinals. Oops. You go over to the Cardinals, and Kyler Murray, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Team stats, everything's in favor of the Cardinals. I mean, Texans had 80 yards of penalties. Ball was controlled by the Cardinals. I'm done with this game too as well. This is not something I need to talk about. The Cardinals win this one 31-5 over the Houston Texans. Texans are now 1-6, and the Cardinals are 7-0. And we can swing to the next game. All right. Looks like we have the Colts and the 49ers. And actually, this one I will talk about. The Colts are not a bad team. Carson Wentz, 17 for 26, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. You take that out of Carson Wentz. Absolutely. Jonathan Taylor, 18 carries for 107 yards and a touchdown. You love that. Carson Wentz even ran for a touchdown. Passing, Pittman Jr., 4 receptions for 105 yards, 1 touchdown. Kicking, 1 for 1, 6 points. 49ers, you go over to Jimmy Garoppolo, 16 for 27, 181 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. There's the difference in this game. It's a 30-18 point game, and that is the difference. Rushing, you had Eli Mitchell for the 49ers, 18 for 107 yards and a touchdown. That's good. Just not as good to compete. Those 2 interceptions are what's going to throw you off. Receptions, Deebo Samuel, 7 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown. That's good. You take that. Kicking 2 for 2, great. 6 points out of their kicker. If you go over the team stats, everything is slightly in favor of the Colts here. I will say the 49ers, 7 penalties for 122 yards and 4 total turnovers by San Francisco. That is the difference in this game. That is why the Colts won this game. And that's it. That's all I have to say. Indianapolis Colts win this game 30-18 over the San Francisco 49ers. The Colts are now 3-4, and the 49ers are 2-4. And the 49ers fully lost this game. They turned the ball over 4 times, and they had 122 yards of penalties against them. That is the reason why the Colts won this game. And we can swing on to the next game. Looks like we have the Saints and the Seahawks. I have the Seahawks winning this game with Geno. And I'll be fully honest, I wasn't surprised at the outcome either. Anyway, Saints, Jameis Winston, 19 for 35, 222 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. He did enough to win. Alvin Kamara, 20 carries for 51 yards. That's not like him, but also enough to win. Alvin Kamara, there we go, receiving 10 receptions for 128 yards and a touchdown. That's where you saw it now. That's my bad. I didn't actually look at that. If your running back is getting the ball like that, you just get it in his hands. That's all you got to do, and you're going to win the game. Kicking 2 for 2. Love to see that. He had 7 points. The Seahawks. Oops.
For anyone who was not
bad. If you jump over to the Seahawks, Geno Smith, 12 for 22, 167 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. I take that out of my backup. I'm okay with that. I don't know how long it's going to be till Wilson comes back, but Geno Smith is starting out his backup career for Russell Wilson really good, and we know that he can win games. So, Alex Collins is their leading rusher, 16 rushes for 35 yards. Their rushing game was very, very poor. Not good at all. DK Metcalf is pushing 100 yards receiving over 2 receptions and has a touchdown. Not much else to say on this end of the Seahawks stuff. You do win this game if your kicker doesn't go 1 for 3, though. The Seahawks need to figure out their kicking. 1 for 3 is not good enough, and you win this game if he makes one of those 2 missed field goals. Or 2 of them. One of them gets you to overtime at least. So, I don't know. Seahawks need to figure out their kicking. I would say that that's where they're lacking. Everything on the team stats is in favor of New Orleans. I will say New Orleans has 7 penalties for 90 yards, and Seahawks have 6 penalties for 53 yards. Both teams need to clean up a little bit. Time of possession was very close. New Orleans fumbled the ball for a loss 1 time. No turnovers past that. Very tight game from what I could see. Both these teams are very middle of the pack, potential wild card playoff spots. from both of these teams in my eyes. So the New Orleans Saints win this one 13-10 over the Seattle Seahawks. New Orleans Saints are 4-2 and the Seahawks are 2-5. And that is all of the week 7 action from the NFL. I guess I can do my week 8 predictions here. Green Bay and Cardinals are done already, and I did pick the Cardinals to win this one, so that is a loss for me. I will keep track of my picks here. If I can find that pen I dropped. Awesome. 8. Okay. So I picked the Cardinals. I'm picking the the Falcons over the Panthers. Titans over the Colts. Bills over the Dolphins. Bengals over the Jets. Browns over the Steelers. Eagles over Lions. Rams over Texans. 49ers over Bears. Patriots over Chargers. Chargers over Patriots. Seahawks over Jags. Bucks over Saints. Broncos over Washington. Vikings over Cowboys, because I have to. I think that'll be a close game, closer than people are expecting. And then I'm going to go Chiefs over Giants. I think Chiefs rebound here. So, all right. So those are my week 8 predictions. And that was week 7 of the Huge Sack podcast. Thanks, guys, again for listening. I didn't have a whole lot of action in my stream this time, but I think I still might start doing them live, depending on what it goes like. If Luke comes back, or I'll probably not do him live, but if he does come back, I will be doing him live. If he doesn't come back, I will be doing him live, because I can just add a webcam to my thing instead of having to screen capture, live feed, video chat with him. So anyway, thanks for watching week 7 action of the Huge Sack podcast. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitch, follow me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Should be Nugget Hole 24 or some kind of variation in there. Yeah, and I guess I'll see you back next week, probably in a couple days here. It is Saturday, so I'll probably see you in 2-3 days here with another episode of the Huge Sack podcast. I liked how fast this one went, and I will keep up on that. If you have any suggestions for me, leave comments on my YouTube videos, and I can take them into account. But anyway, have a good rest of your weekend, and enjoy your day. And I will be back next week with some week 8 action. So have a good one. Thank you.